This is an open meeting under section 19.81 to 19.98 of the Wisconsin State Statutes. You guys have last month's meeting minutes in front of you. Any need for corrections? There being none, I'd look for a motion to approve them.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Kate,
Second.
second by Scott. All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those minutes are approved. Monthly staff reports.
Preschool programming, adult and youth sports activities, and fitness all lost ground from a year ago, July. But on the good side, our miscellaneous was up 800 from the previous year. And then our indoor pool also was 200 above what we were in 24, or in 23, I should say. Our mittance was up, so that's just use of the facilities. And then as far as the indoor, again, lap swim was utilized pretty heavily over the previous year. VMAC was down, according to this report, by about 2,000. Not completely surprised by that with the inconsistent weather we've had during the month of July.
Any questions for Randy on the reports? Randy, somehow, some way, I think we lost the golf simulator on here.
I bet you you can contribute that to the transition in admin staff, but I will note that to make sure that's brought back.
Do you think that had an increase under miscellaneous?
No, we typically had it, well, yes, I think it would have been under miscellaneous, and that would have added to it. That said, I'm gonna say we had maybe a handful, a dozen at most, rentals. We did run a summer special where we were $10 off on everything, but if golfers can, they want to go outside, and I would bet almost all those rentals we had were bad weather days, people that wanted to golf, and just from my observation, Zach handled most of them, if not all of them, so. But I will make a note of that.
All right, communication and correspondence, we have a USTA grant.
Yeah, we were encouraged by a USTA Midwest rep who had reached out to us, who is part of the Aging Infrastructure Task Force, encouraged us to apply for a grant they had. And I'm happy to share that our facility has been awarded $2,500 to go towards our tennis facility. We will utilize this money, put it in a carryover account. We are scheduled to refinish the courts in 2026. There are some repairs to the surface that probably need to be done prior to that. Would also be an ample opportunity to utilize that money. So, yeah, I want to thank USTA. It wasn't something I was shooting for, but they reached out to me and other communities and said, hey, this would be a great opportunity for you to get a couple more bucks. So I want to thank the USTA for that.
Thank you. No appearances or public comments, no old business. New business administration, we have an update on the gymnasium project.
Yes, so last we met, our staff removed the floor in August, and that'll be part of our parks report too, because we utilized 2 full-time staff along with seasonal, a little bit of help from building maintenance, but impressively, they were able to remove the floor in approximately 2 days. They did the majority of it in less than 2 days. They came in on a Friday afternoon, and they were done with what they needed to that following Monday at the close of work. Now, they left roughly a 6-foot strip that was underneath the bleachers, and we had a professional bleacher mover come in at the suggestion of Baseman. They did that, and then they came back a couple weeks later to remove the remainder of the floor. Since then, Basement has been in twice to measure the moisture levels of the concrete. And I'm happy to say those also are at an acceptable level. We did have we call it a questionable spot, and not an area in the gym where I would have thought. They needed a reading of 85 or lower. This particular, we'll call it a hot spot, was at 88. So we were not running any HVAC, so we turned on the ventilation system, and she suggested just run a fan over that area. So I grabbed the box fan and ran that. She came back a week later, and we were at the 85 we needed. So now the schedule is Monday, we're expecting delivery of the materials, and then installation will begin right away on Tuesday, all next week. And we are on pace as of now to open the gym in the beginning of October. So I had given them kind of a timeline of, I think the specific date I gave them was October 11th. We're hoping to get in there sooner. Take them roughly a week to 10 days, and then another week to 10 days to let the paint cure and dry, and then we'll be in there.
Okay. Fall activity guide is coming out.
Yep, it's included in your handout. It is out. Registration is open for all programming. I'll point out that we are still soliciting donors for the pickleball courts. We advertise that on the back of the book, so that's out there. Again, we have enough money for our current phase. It would be great to be able to fit in those 2 extra courts. Right now we're budgeted for 4. We'd like to see up to 6. And I know I've been getting some messaging and some pictures. I had pickleballers send me a picture from Labor Day where they were utilizing all 3 tennis courts. They were full of pickleballers. So program guide is out.
All right, rec programs and activities. We have rehearsals for the community chorus.
Our fall season began. The community chorus is, we're accepting members, so members are not members until they re-register with us, or if they haven't been members yet, they need to register with us. That's $30 a resident, $45 for non-resident. Rehearsals did start this week with preparations for our winter program. That'll be held, there'll be 2 different shows. I want to say Saturday, December 7th will be at Holy Hill, and then that following Sunday, the 8th, will be hosted at the Shower Center.
All right, and fitness classes start next week?
Yeah, so our fall session starts September 11th. Overall, numbers are looking pretty good for our fitness classes this coming session. Yoga, high fitness, and Zumba are all pretty close to their maximum, if not already there. Some of our new classes, such as Strong Mom and Restorative Yoga, have increased a ton over the last week. They're getting close to their maximums as well as Stretch and Tone. And then we are hoping to see a little bit of improvement with our sign-up numbers in our spin classes. Those have been low for the last couple sessions, so we're hoping to see how that goes this fall, and then maybe find ways to advertise it a little more, get those numbers up a little bit in the future. And then we also had to cancel our My Grown Up and Me yoga class. That was scheduled a little earlier than the rest of the fall session, so we didn't have as much time for sign up for that class. We do have another offering coming in the second fall session, so we're going to be pushing that a little more, hoping to get enough signups to run that class.
All right, and Touch Truck this Saturday.
So Touch a Truck is coming up this coming Saturday. It will be in the Recreation Center parking lot. Right now, we have about 18 to 20 vehicles that are signed up for it. That is pretty close to what we've had the last couple of years as well. We're hoping that, you know, even more kids come out this year than we have in the past 2 years. We will also be having Sippy Hippie there for coffee, so it's a little bit more than just vehicles. Unfortunately, they couldn't bring their actual food truck, but they are going to set up a stand, so hopefully that pulls in some more people as well. It's looking to be pretty good weather, a little chillier than we're used to, but it'll be great fall weather day. Supposed to be partly cloudy and sunny, so hopefully it's a pretty good turnout.
All right, and adult and youth sports, we have the Fall Volleyball League.
Our fall volleyball league starts next week, Monday. We had to make a few modifications due to our gym not being available, but we did find a way to have it outdoors at Independence Park for the first month or so, just until the gym is completed. Kind of worried about how many people would sign up, and then we ended up having 9 teams signed up. So I feel like that's a pretty good turnout, considering half of it's going to be outside. But we have a big thank you to Randy and Hartford Utilities for thinking about getting the big light out there and being able to play this fall no matter what. So
All right, flag football games start
so we-
Saturday?
on Saturday, they do start. So we have 4 teams in each league this year. A little bit less than last year for the older league. But overall, we ended up having 4 teams in each league, so that's good. They had their 2 practices last week. They did well with that. Even through the heat on Monday, we ended up having the practice, and the kids were a little slower, but they made it. The kids have all been mailed their acceptance letters and notifications on which team they're on. We have about 20 coaches, a little less than that, coaches from the high school team this year, and the kids are excited to have them be coaching them this fall.
Where do they play?
They play at Independence Park, so in the outfields of West and North Fields. Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to aquatics, and that's Aquatics Center, we have a season wrap-up.
Yeah, so besides the weather, which dialed back our numbers a little bit this year, for the most part, this was a pretty good summer staffing-wise and rescue-wise. We were fully staffed all season long except for the final 3 days, which was kind of to be expected with school starting the following Monday, college students going back to school. So this was the first time in my 5 years here that I've seen the whole summer pretty much full. So I was very happy about that. This summer we had 14 active rescues, primarily in swim test area, which is to be expected. Typically it's kids trying to do the swim test for the first time, struggle about midway, and our guard jumps in. So we had 14 active rescues, no passive rescues this year, luckily. And then 4 injury reports, but it was nothing super major on those injury reports, more so just cuts from elbows during basketball. Staff overall this year, I was very impressed with their performance. We had a pretty experienced staff overall. With that, I am planning to lose quite a few of our upper management staff next year. All 3 of our primary open swim managers are likely leaving. So what I kind of did this year, this final week, is 3 of the days I paired up 2 of our head guards and had them manage for the day. I was there with them all day. It was more so for them to kind of get a sense of what the manager position is, to see if they want to do it, and for me to see kind of how they can handle it during the day. So that's something I wish I could have done when I was a head guard going to manager. I think it definitely opened their eyes to kind of what the position is. And a couple of them definitely said they want it next year. So I'm going to consider all 5 of the head guards that I trialed with it, and then likely pick 3 to be our managers next year. That's about it.
All right, and maintenance update?
Yes, so with the closing of the pool, we're now focusing on the issues at hand with the leaks within the pool. We had a pre-meeting, I want to say mid-August, with Wolf Underground. That is the company that did the, had previously done underground pipe work for the fire department this summer. So we had a pre-meeting with them, brought them on site, showed them maps, showed them exact spots of what we were talking about, and had them scheduled to come out. They came out last Friday before the holiday weekend. After a discussion with them, they had decided that this project, that we would be best utilizing a different contractor. Disappointed with the timing of that, because that, in my mind, that's what the pre-meeting was for. They did give us a suggestion, a referral, that I've been in contact with. A company out of Menasha, Speedy Clean, and I've been talking with them about having them come in. Again, camera our trouble areas, and I've also I've been attempting to reach out to Visu Sewer out of Menominee Falls, who had previously in the spring come out and looked at our issue as well. So in the meantime, I did reach out to Danton Teast and had a couple of his wastewater guys come out to attempt to camera again. They also were out in May. So they were able to camera the Lazy River portion once again. The trouble area pipe was once again filled with water, but it was clear water, and we knew that the water would be clean. Weren't able to see any issues. Now, again, if a pipe is holding water, the issue is probably not on the bottom of the pipe. And then just because of the configuration of the piping for the leisure pool, they weren't able to camera that. So I'm hoping to get, obviously, time is of the essence now. We're shut down. I'm disappointed that we're behind already. But working with these two other contractors to see which one's gonna be the best fit, who can get out here, not only the soonest, but who's gonna give us the best quality work to find out our issue, repair the issue, and find out why the issue happened. If I'm not getting any headway within the next, it's safe to say, 36 hours, I'll be reaching out to Burbach Aquatics themselves to see what support they can offer us. Right now, they're currently waiting for a video of the areas in question so that they can review it for themselves. So that's where we're at with that project. As far as other amenities, talking over with staff, a lot of the pillars, we'll call them, the wooden posts had been failing, a lot of them rotting out. Not happy with that look, so we're discussing, particularly along the bathhouse itself, outside of the locker rooms, those are the ones that are failing. I've asked staff, hey, let's make sure we remove these. And now the question is, are they necessarily needed? I have budgeted money for next year to replace them. When we replace them, I've asked Brian to research having them in the grass area instead of the concrete. It's, of my opinion, those pillars rotted out because they were encased in concrete, where water can get in, freeze thaw, nowhere to go. Whereas the pillars around the slides in the rock area are within the rock area. There's ways for water to recede, and those are in much better conditions and don't need to be replaced. So again, the question is it something that's needed? I've gotten Zach's opinion on it. It does help direct traffic, but the question will be, is it worth the money to be spent when we can better spend money on other areas of the pool?
Any questions on either?
Did Burbach, has Burbach ever, jumping back to the original, Randy, has Burbach ever encountered something like this with any of their builds?
Burbach's tagline is that they've never had a pool that leaks. So this is important to them to make sure that this isn't an issue or a further issue. So they're invested in the resolution of this problem. To fully answer your question, I have not heard. I was in contact with Sparta, who had an issue, and I believe it was just a joint that had failed, a relatively common issue that was fixed. But I did talk to the director in Sparta, so his issue was not similar to ours. Matt Carrico had pointed that out and suggested I give them a call, and I did, and yeah, it's not the same issue we're having.
Okay.
All right, we'll move on to the Hartford Family Aquatics Center, sponsored by the Lutz Family Foundation. Maintenance update there.
So we have not hit our original target date for reopening the indoor pool. That would have been yesterday, this past Tuesday. The the top tower platform installation was delayed a week. The importance of having that installed is we needed that tower to be put in so that we could re-erect the slide itself. The slide needed to connect to that. So having that delayed having the slide installed. Without the slide installed, the slide was sitting along the deck. So I'm happy to report that the platform was installed late last week. And then yesterday and then completed today was the slide reinstall. So that is put back together. So now we're waiting on the timing of filling the pool, which will happen towards the end of this week, getting it balanced and heated, ready to go for Wednesday. We did give ourselves a little bit of a buffer. There was a chance that we could have done it earlier by a day or two, but we did not want to disappoint our users and members. The paint has been going along. That has taken a little longer, and I'm not sure if the painter had knowing he had a bigger window, it took a little more time, but colors look great. Mel did a good job of picking those out. And the paint, I'm happy with the colors. I'm always nervous. We could not find what the original colors were. We were trying to switch colors up a little bit, got everybody's opinion. Zach, Melanie were certainly a part of that. But I think everybody agrees that we're happy with how that looks. Either that or they're not telling me. And then Signworks did install the new sponsorship sign. They did that on Friday. So that is in the pool. So if you want to stop by, give it a look. It's a sharp sign. It was bigger than I anticipated, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it stands out, and I think it's a good compliment to the past and looks good in the pool. So to review again, we're expecting to open on September 11th, 1 week from today.
All right, good stuff. Swim lessons would start that day then.
They would.
Yeah, so originally it was slated to start on Monday the 9th, but with that delay, luckily we already had a built-in Monday with no lessons at the end of this session. So we were able to just move those Mondays back a week, so there's no issue with the schedule on swim lessons. But rather than starting Monday, we're starting Wednesday on the 11th. It's typically our session with the lowest enrollment. Post-summer, kids are back to school, starting fall sports. So we currently have 204 signed up for the classes, which is pretty good for a fall session at this point. So looking forward to it. Had plenty of instructors available, so we were able to have teachers for every class.
All right, and we have other activities starting October 1st.
Yeah, so typically we wait until October to start our morning water walk or toddler swim, as well as the afternoon open swims. So those will be starting October 1st. My staff is super excited to be back to indoor open swims. We're going to be having a training towards the end of September just to refresh everyone on the operations of the indoor pool, as well as teach the new guards that haven't worked at the indoor pool yet, kind of how things work there. So we're looking forward to it.
All right, parks and staff reports. We have the park project report.
Yes, with the seasonal staff thinning out throughout the month, some vacations getting into, we didn't tackle too many projects. Just the basics there, maintenance set up for rentals, mowing. Again, as I mentioned before, staff prepped and had to do some purchases for the gym floor removal. And that took a couple days there, and then did some finish work with the Independence parking lot. They got that in before the Kick Some Grass tournament with some fill, soil, and seed, so that we were avoiding and fixing trip hazards along the parking lot.
All right, any commission requests tonight? Randy, all good with the sprinklers on Mill Pond?
we had those removed. I don't remember what we last talked about. I did get a quote for the repair of the two fountains that weren't functioning. That total repair cost for both of them was upwards of $12,000.
Oh, my God.
So there's a certain alderperson that you may know, Todd, that I'm gonna be reaching out to. I've been meaning to, I know the fountains are dear to him, as he always asks about them, so I'm gonna follow up with him, let him know where we're at. I know he had said, maybe some suggestions about finding the money. I talked to Steve about it too today, as well, to find other resources. Again, those fountains were originally donated, to our department, from utilities as part of their 100-year anniversary. I know this because I researched it when I had to do my speech for the Centennial Park. So that's proved valuable to me. So we'll be looking at ways to finance those, either with a fix. Maybe at this point, it's finding what else is out there for new. Part of the problem is the lighting. It's outdated. It would have to be purchased new or fabricated for that. Is that the fix for that just doesn't exist anymore? But very good question. Thanks for bringing that up.
How old are those?
I want to say they are, I want to say from sometime in the 2000s, so I want to say probably about 20 years old.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that, but if you really want to know, I can follow up.
No, just curious, approximately.
Whenever the utility celebrated their 100 years, good question for Brian Rhodes.
And I didn't know that one, so couldn't help you.
All right, any other commission requests?
That fishing pier that was donated by Rotary, does that have to come out before the winter?
So that fishing pier will come out before freeze. So that'll roll up right onto the grass area there. And then the Centennial Park one will remain.
And that, what rolls up, the Rotary one, what rolls up into the park, that will stay there, or does that get transported
Nope.
someplace else?
Well, we'll keep it there for the winter. That's the same process I followed when I was in Watertown too. We had, I want to say, a handful of piers that we did the same thing to, where it just comes up and sits in the park.
Okay.
All right, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
I move.
Motion by Dan,
Second?
second by Kate. All in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Did you see my shirt? It's the wrong color. It's green. It's blue.
The shirt is blue. The shirt is blue there and there.
No, it's
Well, that's
not. This is more of a turquoise. That looks
Well,
royal.
true. Look, but my
Actually,
sweater's
that
black.
makes your shirt look newer.
Just- What?
She calls me for every broken foot practice.
He can still play football, though, with a broken thumb.
Yeah, he starts his fall ball travel team this weekend too.
Oh, shiitake mushrooms, that he won't be able to do.
Hopefully it's not broken.
I was gonna say, it depends on how bad it is. Sorry to hear that.
Well, she calls me about every fracture or whatever, because she has to. She goes, I just want to let you know we had another fracture night practice. I also called your wife because it happened to be your son. Shit.
Dang it.
Good to see you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Zach. I will So
When do we,
our event coordinator is no
commission have to
longer in our
publicly
office.